The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey guys, good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your time. This is Jason. I will be very happy to be with you guys again here. All right. So can you guys hear me now? First question, I want to confirm that you can hear my voice. All right. If you can hear me, please just let me know through the chatting panel, or if you can't, also let me know. All right. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for your feedback. Now, today we're actually have a big training, right? We're actually got 2 hours, really big training session. So get ready for this. We're gonna have the training for YSCT Certified Technician training, which will be technically training for teaching you guys how to do the basic configuration for this S-Series PBX. Now, first of all, I'm actually showing you this page. This is actually the Google Chrome, right? It's actually my web browser. So now, the first thing about the S-Series PBX is you don't have to download any software when you try to do the configuration. Remember, all you have to do is just take your web browser. Now, mostly in our daily life, a lot of web browsers are totally supported. So you could use your Google Chrome, you could use your Firefox, Safari, whatever you want. It's going to be available. And today, oops. Hey guys, are you still there? Hey guys, can you hear me now? Because I think probably you're offline. I think probably you're offline, so it's okay. I will wait for a second. So you can check your audio device and your network. Make sure you're connected with the webinar so we can keep going, all right? Is that okay for you to, shall we keep going? Shall we start it? Guys, can you hear me now? I'm not so sure whether you're keep connected. Okay, sure. Because before it was, just drop off. Okay, I'll keep going. Like I've mentioned before, so most of your web browser are totally supported, like Safari, Google Chrome, whatever. Now, usually we suggest you to take Google Chrome to accessing our S-Series PBX, the GUI system. Now, as you can see, today I'm actually going to take this device S100 as the demo to show you guys how we do the basic configuration. Now, the first thing is when we try to log into the system, we'll definitely need a IP address to accessing this system. Otherwise, it's not available for us to access the system. This is the only way by using IP address. Now, system default, if you take a brand new S-Series PBX, you will figure that the default IP address is 192.168.5.150. That's the original IP address. But it's totally available for you to change it. Of course, you're going to put this PBX in your local network, in your office, so you have to change the IP address to make sure it will work in your office. It will be a very basic step, and I will tell you guys how to do that configuration. Now, as you can see, this is going to be the GUI page for the beginning part. Now, when we try to log in the system, we need a password, we need a username, of course. Now, the username originally, the default username is admin, and the password is just password without capitalization. So just ordinary, just typing the password, then you can access in. Now here we go. This would be the GUI system for the S-Series PBX. As you can see at the very beginning, the first thing we have is this little white color pop out, right? It just boom, it just jumped, it just bounced here, the pop out. Now here actually just a notification to ask us to change the password to secure your system. It's going to be very important to change your password. Otherwise, if anyone they knows this, password, the simple password, they can access in the system. They can do whatever they want. So we will need to change our password here, right? But it's okay if you don't want to do any modification. You can skip it. Click next so we can skip that part. And after that, here we go. The second step here will be the page for us to set our email, to set our mailbox actually. I mean, at the very beginning, we're trying to log into the system, but if sometimes we just forget our password, probably it's a big trouble, right? So we need to find it back. We need to find a solution. We need to figure out a way to help us get the password back or to reset the password. So here we go. This is going to be the place where we can drop the email. We can just drop a mailbox to recover the password. So I'm actually using my A-Star working email mailbox. And the next one here, this will be very, very important step, which means we're gonna set the email server, the mailbox server here, because sometimes we need some features, right? We need email to messages, messages to email, and also voicemail to email, right? Those kind of features, definitely we need the PBX has a, just a mailbox server. Make sure that the PBX can send some messages through email to your private mailbox, of course. So here we go. Now, normally, you will just need to enter the mailbox, the email address. Now here, take an example. I'm actually using my Gmail, right? I'm using my Google Gmail here, and all these, outgoing mail server and incoming mail server is actually automatically generated here. It's automatically generated here. But it's okay if you don't have this one. If you don't have this automatically generate, it's okay. Get to your mailbox setting page, and you could find those details, parameters, get it from your mailbox and set it here. And after that, don't forget to set your password for your mailbox. So make sure that your PBX can actually activate this mailbox. So that we could connect this, we could create this connection between your mailbox and your PBX. Make this bound, And if you want to make sure that it will actually work, click on test. So click on test. It will probably take a few seconds or a few minutes. It totally depends on the network condition, and it will the system gonna take a few time, a little bit of time. Make sure it will actually work. Now, guys, I'm sorry. Currently, I'm using Gmail, but in China, Gmail is not available actually. So probably this is gonna be really take a little bit of time. Okay, let's just skip it. All right. So that will be the basic 3 steps for the very beginning. We actually just 3 steps, change your password, set your mailbox to recover the password, and set your mailbox server. Here we go. And after that, once we finish that, and here we go. This is going to be the basic setting step for us now. As you can see, this is a totally graphically designed web page. So it's definitely very user-friendly, very easy to understand, very handy. Now let's have a quick look. Now on my right hand here, we have private information, our personal information, of course. It tells you account name, and you could change your language. Now currently we support English, we support Chinese and Portuguese. This is Spanish, sorry. And also we support other languages, as you can see. It's multiple languages we support. And also we could go for the My Settings. Click on this My Settings. Here we go. It just transferred to the pop-out to inform us to change the password, right? And the next one will be this one. This will be resource monitor. It's actually the very quick step for us, very easy access for us to get the details information about the system. See, we can have the details information about currently my local network settings, like the type of my LAN port and my MAC address, the IP address, whatever. So all those network information here. And I could also get some information about my devices, my device, like the product name, the serial number, the firmware version, okay? And the last one would be storage usage. Just very basic and very easy to understand, right? Okay. And next one, this one will be the notification. It will actually tells you if something happened, some damage, some alert. It will shows here the notification. It's very easy. Okay. And this is going to be the main menu. When you click on the main menu, you will have all those things here. Okay, like what I've mentioned before, the App Center, you guys do remember, right? The open platform for those softwares and resource monitor, the PBX monitor, which you can actually monitor your system, your status of those extensions, right? And also you can monitor your status of those trunks. We have physical trunks, right? And also we have zip trunk. You can create zip trunk by yourself, right? And here just tells you the working status. Is that working fine or working with trouble, right? And the concurrent costs, we can also have monitoring here. So how many costs currently we have? The last one is conference. Here it just tells you how many conference you have currently and who's the moderator and how many person are currently in the conference. Okay. So just a quick look at the basic system, the system structure. Now also we have CDR recordings. You can check your recordings. And now I'm gonna start our first session, the first important thing, which will be basic configuration for the system and this internal telephone system creation job. Let's get started. Go for the settings. Of course, we're gonna start our job now, right? Now the basic configuration, think about it. When you try to use your PBX in the office, what would be the first step? Take a few seconds, you can think about it, and I'm gonna tell you now. Now, think about it. We're trying to use this system, IP PBX, in the office. So this is IP PBX. Definitely, we're gonna put this PBX in our local network. So to make this PBX can work, the network setting gonna be the first step, right? Of course, go to the network right over here. We're gonna set the network to make sure that this PBX can actually take effect, can actually working in this local network system, right? Now here we go. Go to the basic settings. Other things, forget about it, not important. Let's keep going. Now the basic settings here. The host name would be IP PBX. Normally just drop it like this. We don't have to do any modifications here, right? And the second one would be mode. So check on mode. We actually have three modes. We have single mode, we have dual mode, and bridge mode. So what does mode mean? Mode means actually the way how are we going to define the system for the network interface ports. On the S-Series PBX, we actually have two interface ports for network. We have LAN port and WAN port. So here comes the question, I'm sorry. The question will be, how do we define the system to customize those two ports, right? Now, here we go. If we select single mode, which means one port is not available, as you can see, it's not available for anything. Only LAN port is available. So that will be the single mode. Only your LAN port will be activated. And the rest of our job will be very easy, very simple, right? Just make a definition for this LAN port, make some settings for it. Now let's keep going. This is going to be the LAN port. We could have three options for the LAN port. We can select DHCP mode, which means you will get a dynamic IP address for this LAN port. So in other words, you don't even have a fixed IP address for LAN port, right? That's totally available. Totally depends on you. But usually, people they don't select a DHCP because for a office they definitely need some regular maintenance for the telephone system. So probably they want to have a fixed IP address. So they will select a static IP address, of course. Now, static IP address will be very, very simple, very easy to understand. You have your local network system, right? You want to make sure the telephone system gonna working simultaneously, gonna working fine in this whole local network. So just take this static IP address, make some configuration for it, set your IP address, your subnet mask, and your gateway, whatever, right? It's gonna be very easy here. To make sure, just to make sure, like I mentioned, this network gonna working fine in your local network, and also you have because you have your network router, right? So make sure this gateway setting and this DNS server setting is gonna be correct with your network router setting, so that you can have the actual network access on your PBX. And what's more, we could also support this triple PoE. So that means if you don't have an IP address, if you don't, I mean, you don't even have an IP address, you would just use your username and password. So you can select this triple PoE, right? But just like I mentioned, neither DHCP or triple PoE are popular. Only this static IP address is very popular. People they do want to do these modifications, maintenance for the system by using a fixed IP address because it's gonna be very easy. Okay. Now let's keep going. Okay. Now the second one we have is dual mode. So for dual mode, that means we actually just activate LAN port and WAN port both. And the difference between dual mode and the single mode is if we activate these two ports both, that means we're actually make these two ports working independently. So in other words, you could have one network setting on your LAN port and another one totally separate one network setting on your WAN port. That's totally fine. Now, probably you guys want to know, why do we set like that? Why do we choose this kind of mode for dual for this two ports? Now, in some country, in some areas, actually, when you try to get the SIP service from your carrier, now mostly it's very easy. You just get one network cable, right? And you could have your network service and your SIP service on this network cable simultaneously. They're gonna be fine. You just plug inside to your system, so you can use it. You can use them both. I mean, for both network service and SIP service. But some areas, they the carrier they offer clients SIP service and network service separately, which means you must make sure that you have two available ports for those two separate service because you're gonna have two network cables, right? One for the network service, another one for the SIP service. It's working independently, so you must have two ports for that. So here we go. That's the reason why some people they need dual mode. Of course, you can use dual mode for something else. Of course, that one was just an example, right? And also we support bridge mode. So the bridge mode, it's just very easy. You just make a connection between your LAN port and WAN port. Just build a bridge, kind of like build a bridge. So normally this is the most popular method for people to set their PBX network. They usually choose bridge mode, so connect to their LAN port and WAN port, and they put the PBX into the local network. So normally for LAN port, probably they will just connect with their network router, so they can get the network service and SIP service directly. And the WAN port, they could just connect with maybe a switch, maybe something else, whatever, right? This is going to be very popular. And here we have another thing which is called cellular network. You guys still remember? Yesterday I'm actually talking about one thing is called 4G LTE module. And I told you guys that we can actually have data service through this module for the PBX, right? Here we go. This is going to be the place how do we set the data service from SIM card to your PBX. Get the SIP service. I'm sorry. Get the data service from your SIM card. Now, cellular network here, we can select never, which means you will never ever use your cellular network, even you have one available SIM card. And you can also select the failover. So this is gonna be kind of like the backup solution. Failover. It's gonna be like a backup solution. So what is backup solution? If you select failover, now if your network, your landline network just working, have some damage, have some failover issue, so your system gonna automatically use the same card, get the data service for the PBX. All right, and also we can select always. So we just make the same card, keep working all the time to get the data service for the PBX. Okay, what is the threshold for failover? What do you mean threshold for failover? Get a little bit confused. That's actually, like I've mentioned, it will be a backup solution for us. Let me think about it. It will be a backup solution. A time. Okay. Sorry. Let me have a check. Failover. See here, if wired connection is lost, cellular network will kick in. When wired connection is back, cellular work will step down. So they're actually about the threshold, about the time is not going to be a very clear limitation there. It's actually automatically detection. If your physical landline connection just off working, so the system going to detect it and it's going to automatically transfer to your cellular network. Okay. And about this cellular network, if we're trying to activate our SIM card, so we also need to go for the cellular network right over here to make some settings, some configurations for it, like a dial app settings, like this data control, of course. But this is totally depends on your SIM card, your LTE SIM card, right? So get that SIM card from your carrier, get the information there, and you could start the configuration here. Okay, I'll keep going. Now, once we finish this part, this is the basic step 1. Now, just click on save. Now, we just finished this first step. Okay, now what is the second step? Now, the second step for the system, think about it. This is a telephone system. So definitely the time, the date and time will be very important for everyone, right? If your telephone system working in the wrong time or wrong date, probably you get some issue, right? You cannot handle phone calls from your client very well. So the second step will be date and time. Just go for date and time, and you will figure that we actually support 2 methods for you to define the date and time in your PBX. Now, which will be manually setting, and another one will be automatically setting. Now, the first one, this will be synchronized with NTP server, which means the first method is actually automatically setting. All right. So all we have to do, we actually got a two-way, right? We could select a synchronize with NTP server, like I've mentioned. So I'm not going to select manually, and now we will just need to select the time zone, right? Now, for example, in Dubai, probably we use the time zone is 4, right? I think it's +4 in Abu Dhabi. That's the time in Dubai. Let me figure out where is it. Muscat, Abu Dhabi. Here we got a Dubai. We got Dubai. So we're actually using this time. The Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Muscat, they were actually using the same time zone. So you can just select it here. And daylight saving time, we don't using daylight saving time there, so we just disable it. If we use it like North America people, they use daylight saving times automatic. All right. And here we've already offered you guys the NTP server. And if you want to have your own NTP server, you can just enter it here and click on sync with NTP server, so you can have it. After that, click on save, And the system gonna it reminds you to reboot it because you've already changed the time, the date, so they just want you to restart the system. Or forget about it, I'm not gonna restart the system now. And also we support setup manually. So set up manually here, you can just select a date and set the time, all right? After that, click on save, restart your system, and don't forget click apply. If you never click apply, probably your settings were not going to take effect. All right, so I want you guys to remember, in the future, if you try to do any kind of modification, if the system notify you this orange button, that's going to be very important. Make sure you hit that apply button, okay? Now I'm going to change the time back. I'm going to change the time back, okay? Now this is going to be step 2. Now step 3 will be prompt, because now we've already got the time, get the system, get the network. So people are trying to use it. When people try to use the telephone system, they will get some information, some notification from the telephone system, which is called system prompt. Now let's figure out. Oops, where is it? Prompt, where is prompt? Ah, it's here, voice prompts. Sorry guys. Now click on voice prompts here. What we're going to do is system prompt. And let's have a check. So what is system prompt? Now think about it. The first question we're going to think about it is what is system prompt? Now normally when we try to access the PBX, like your phone system probably will need to ask you like, please enter, please dial number 0 to check your voicemail, or please enter asterisk to check your whatever, those kind of modifications, right? It's totally, I mean those kind of information given by the system is called system prompt. Now let's have a check. Now, definitely, people are actually from all over the world. They speak different languages. We can't make the system only available for English. We definitely need to make the system support multiple languages. Now, don't worry about it because ASTAR do support multiple languages. We have 2 methods for getting this system prompt. One is manually get it from our website. You can actually download the file and you can upload it by yourself. All right? And another one will be downloaded directly through your PBX. But make sure that your PBX actually have this network service, have the network access. Okay. Click on download here. Now this is going to be the page to show us what languages do we have. It's going to be amazing because you could find tons of different languages here. Now wait a few seconds, we're going to have this list. Probably this network issue. Let me refresh it. Okay, I will try another device. I will try another device. This is S300. Use the same default username and password, and let's go for this prompt. Let's see, this one not gonna open up. Okay, I will use this one. Anyway, let's have a check. Now this is gonna be the list for us to download online prompt. You will figure that we support so many different languages. We could have English, even Swedish is not very popular languages, I think. And we have, Zach, we have Turkish, and even we also support, Persian, this Arabic, Germans, all of those languages are totally supported. Now, for example, the Arabic, I've actually already downloaded in the system. So it's actually very easy. For example, if we try to get some new language packages, so we could just click on download. The system gonna just take a few seconds. You're gonna automatically download it in the system. Now apply it. Now you will figure that here we have Swedish, Arabic, and Chinese. It's gonna be very easy. Then after that, we're gonna have those packages. And here, I'm sure that you guys have a question is, all right, how do we make use of those languages, right? Definitely you have this question. Take it easy. I will show you later. All right, just like I've mentioned, now we've already finished our very first, three steps for this basic settings, right? So now what we're going to do? Now what we're going to do is actually try to build our own internal telephone system, right? Now, talking about build internal telephone system, currently the PBX is already finished the setting. Now, it seems that we need extensions, right? We need phones. Otherwise, how can we make phone call, right? So go for the extensions right over here. And let's see how do we create the new extensions. It's actually not WAV file. It's not. I will show you here. So which means this system prompt you cannot record it. This system is only the notification for it's TAR. It's TAR. This part of system prompt is only the prompt from the system. Just notify you for feature code. For some operation. And I'm sure you actually want to know something about is that available for us to record something for IVR? It's okay. It's actually the custom prompt. We need to customize it by ourselves. That's totally another thing, and I'm gonna explain it next time. Okay. Now let's keep going for the extension. It's gonna be very easy. Go for the extensions. Click on Add because we're gonna create new extensions, right? Now here is the page for extensions creation. As you can see, now first of all, we could select the type of extension. We support SIP, we support IAX, and also we support FXS. But if you want to use FXS, you must make sure you have available FXS ports on your PBX. Otherwise, you can't use it directly. You may need the help of gateway. Or we can have them together. That's also available. So one single number, but I can have SIP extension, I can have SIP terminal, IEX terminal, and FX terminal simultaneously. And if I check the FXS, here I need to select available port for this FXS. All right. So make sure that in your system you have a physical port and you have installed the S2 module, which can support FXS. All right. Now let's just check the SIP firstly. First one is going to be extension number. I think this is very easy to understand. It's system automatically generated here, but it's okay if you want to change the number. And if you try to change the number, one thing you must remember is going to be here. Let's go for the general. Scrolling down a little bit, you will figure that we have extension preferences here. All right. Here, first one, user extensions. You will figure that here is the range for this number. All right. So no matter what kind of number you want, you prefer, must make sure the number is under this number range. Otherwise, your number is invalid. But it's okay if you don't like this number range. You can change this range by yourself. We actually support from 2 digits to 7 digits. So you could have this number range. That's definitely supported. Okay, get back here. All right, another one will be caller ID. Now, usually people, they just don't make any modification. Caller ID will be as same as the extension number. They don't want to get confused, right? And the next one is registration name and registration password. This password generated by the system automatically. You don't have to do any kind of changes. It's not necessary. And the question here is, how do we use this registration name and password? Think about it. This is a SIP. This is an IP phone, right? So for IP phone, we need some configuration. We need to register our IP phone on the PBX. That's very necessary. So how do we register it? We definitely need a registration name and password. Otherwise, we can't make that happen. So this is going to be the registration name and password. You will need to keep that in your mind, or you can just make a copy. Get back to your, when you try to register your IP phone, get back to your IP phone's configuration page and enter those information so you can activate it. All right, and another amazing thing here is, do you remember yesterday I actually mentioned that we could have one number, one same number, but you could have multiple devices, multiple terminals. Now here we go. This is going to be the place where we can define the system to have multiple devices, multiple terminals. Concurrent registrations, you will figure that the maximum concurrent registrations is actually 5, which means, I mean, if you enter 6, it's not available, so only 5, which means this number 1003 could maximum register 5 different IP terminals. So that means 5 IP phones are sharing one same number. Okay, and you could actually have more terminals. So you can activate your IAX and your FXS. So in other words, totally you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7. You could have maximum 7 terminals by using one same extension number. All right, that's what we can do here. Okay, now let's keep going. All right, let's keep going. Okay, the next one here will be user information. So what is user information? Now, currently, I log into the system. My identity is the super administrator, right? I'm actually using the admin and password, which means this is super administrator's authorization for the system. But for those extensions, can they access in the system if they want to check their voicemail or they want to do some have some modification for their IP phones? Now, of course, it's available, right? The problem is how do they access in the system? They will need a username and password, of course. So here we go. This is their username, and this is their password. The password, you can figure that the system default password is pass plus the extension number. So his his user password should be pass 1003. And when he logs into the system, his authorization is only his private information, nothing else. He can do nothing for the configuration or modification for the system. Okay. And also we can set the email here. Like I've mentioned, we support voicemail to email. So if he want to check his voicemail through the email, he need set his email here so he can receive the voicemail from the PBX. Right, I can set it here. And the mobile number, so if you want to have a mobility extension, that's going to be fine. You can just drop your mobile number here. So if someone calls in, you can transfer the phone call to your mobile. And this is the prompt language. This is a place where we can set different languages for different employees. Now, for example, if this office is located in Dubai and we have employee from local area, they don't speak English, they don't speak Chinese, they speak Arabic, right? It's their native language. So we can select Arabic for this guy. So next time when he receive a phone call, next time when he gets some information from the system gonna inform him in Arabic. Okay. And the last one, char, you title H plus integration. About this, this is actually the solution for char. So we're not going to talk about it today. If you guys have something you want to know more details about the char, probably in the future we could have a further discussion about it. This is going to be the solution for the PMS system. Okay, now let's keep going. Now let's keep going, go to the features. Let's have a check for this extension 1003. What else we can do for it? Now this is going to be the settings for voicemail. If you want to have voicemail, make sure you've already activate enable voicemail. All right, with no doubt. And if you want to send the voicemail to email, you can check it here. So next time you can check your voicemail through your email, through your mailbox. And when you try to check your voicemail, you need a password through your phone, right? So here, this is your voicemail access pane. You can change it, of course. Okay. And the next part will be call forwarding. If you want to transfer your phone call to somewhere else, you can select always, so no one could ever disturb you anymore, right? But that's not what we need. So maybe when you are not available to answer the phone call, you can transfer the phone call to your voicemail or to another extension, to another guy, or to your mobile. So he can call your mobile directly. And you could also transfer to a custom number. So here you can set a custom number. Probably it could be a landline number. It totally depends on you. And also if you're busy now, if you're busy online or occupied, you can also transfer the phone call to somewhere else. Okay. Now also the next one is mobility extensions. Now here, this mobility extension is a little bit different from the different from the Linkus. Linkus is not mobility extension setting here. Linkus is totally another thing. This mobility extension is actually this, your mobile number, right? So here, this mobility extension we're talking about is actually talk about our SIM card, our mobile number. We're actually trying to figure out how to make the system to call to our SIM card directly. We have some strategy. We could ring simultaneously, which means if you got a phone call on your extension, if your client call this extension, you could also get a phone call on your cell phone. You could also get a phone ring on your cell phone. But you must make sure you've already enabled the mobility extension. Otherwise, you will only get a phone call on your telephone, on your desktop phone. Okay. And monitor settings. It's a very practical feature here, especially for people who works for some agency, like legal agency, right? Some legal consultant. They probably need this feature. Allow being monitored. First one, if I click allow being monitored, which means if someone calls me, if I have a phone call, my conversation could be monitored by someone else. So that would be allow being monitored. But if I never check this allow being monitored, no one could check my conversation, could check my phone call. Okay? And on my right hand here, the monitor mode, this is going to be another option for us to define this 1003. You can assign the authorization for this 1003 to monitor other people, to monitor other guys. And we have a few options, as you can see here. We could select disabled. That means you cannot be allowed to monitor calls. And you could select extensive, which means all those three options are available on your phone. Now let's have a check one by one. Now listen mode, that means you can only monitor others, but you cannot talk. No one can hear your voice. Whisper mode, that means you can talk to the extension which you are trying to monitor. And the other one, the third party, he or she cannot hear your voice. And the barge in is actually, you just interrupt the conversation, right? You just make this conversation becomes a triple conversation, a triple party conversation. And if we're trying to use this monitor feature, we would just need to grab our phone and dial the feature code, as you can see here. Asterisk 90, asterisk 91, asterisk 92, right? For the specific monitor feature. And the last one, other settings, we have ring timeout. So this is going to be the time you define your extension. If someone calls you, and how many seconds are you going to let them to wait until you pick up the phone? And the max call duration. So the max call duration is actually defines this extension for phone calls to the outside. I mean the outgoing calls. For internal phone calls, like two extensions, if they have the conversation, they're not going to be the limitation. This part of limitation is actually not going to work on the internal calls. Now the last one, of course, is DND. Do not disturb. If you check it, no one can ever disturb you anymore. Now we click on save and apply. We just have this 1003, right? It's going to be very easy. And here comes another question is people want to know if I take as 20 users, it's going to be okay. I can create it manually. But if I have as 300 and I have 500 users, how can I make that job one by one? It's terrible, right? Don't worry about it. We have Bulkhead. You can add multiple extensions by this page. It's going to be very easy. As you can see, all the settings will be similar, will be as same as previous setting page. The only difference here is going to be the create numbers. So how many numbers would you like to create? It's going to be very easy. And you could define the username and password. The difference here is if we select add Balclay here, we don't support FXS. Because you know FXS is totally physical connection. We just need physical connection. We can't make automatically working, right? Okay, and we also have another option for this part of setting, which is import. So you can actually just import a CSV file. That would be a template, will be much more easier. And as for the template, let's take an example. So I just download that template. I will show you guys what exactly is the template. Now here we go. This is going to be the template for this import. As you can see, the template, the form actually includes everything. The type of your extension, the username, registration name, even your spy mode. So everything, as you can see, everything is totally included here. So the rest of our job is very easy. Just fill in the blanks and click on save. Get back to your setting page, just import it, right? Okay. And also we can create an extension group. Now, for example, we have so many extensions. Now we don't want to get confused, so we can probably create an extension group. You know, extension group is more like a management method for us. Try to manage the whole extensions in the system if we have so many, so we can create a group to help us manage them. Okay, now this part of setting are finished. All right, and the next thing we're going to do is going to be very important. It's going to be registration, right? Because currently we already have those extension numbers, extension informations on the PBX. But we still don't have any extensions. We don't have IP phones. So if we try to use the phone, we definitely need to register those phones on the PBX. And we could do that job very easy, right? We can manually take those IP phones one by one to finish that part of configuration. But that's going to be terrible. If you have like 100 extensions, how do you do that? Are you going to try to register them one by one? No, it's crazy, right? So we have a very easy way, which is called auto provisioning. Now, on the main menu, you can find it. If you cannot find it, you can go to the App Center. In the App Center, we have the auto provisioning. You will just need to download it on your PBX. And once you've downloaded it, you can find it here. Click on auto provisioning. Let's have a check. Now this will be very easy, makes everything becoming simple. Now first off, what you're going to do is take all those IP phones, make a connection between your PBX and your IP phones. I mean, build your local network, right? The local network system. Check all those physically, make sure they are all physically connected. And after that, get to the auto provisioning. Click on scan. So your system gonna automatically make a scanning in the local network system, and the system gonna find out all those IP phones automatically. It's very easy, very simple. And if you cannot find it, don't worry about it. You can find it manually. Click on Add. You can add those extensions manually. So here, select manufacturer. Like I've mentioned, we support multiple IP phones. We have extraordinary compatibility. So we have like Polycom, Snorf, Grandstream, Cisco, all those IP phones are totally supported. Don't worry about it. And here, enter the MAC address of your IP phone. Select the model, all right? And if your IP phone has a template, just select the template. Otherwise, forget about it. And after that, click on Save. Now, you just add this device in your system. It's going to be very easy. And after that, what we're going to do is, in this list, you will just need to make a selection. Now, for example, I don't need those devices. I just need a few devices like this one, this one, this one. But here's the tips. The tip here is we're actually talking about the auto provisioning. The most important thing is make sure the model should be the same. The manufacturer should be the same. Otherwise, you can't make this auto provisioning start working, right? And after that, click on Edit. Now, here we go. Here you can figure this is the manufacturing information, the model, the template. If you have, it will tell you here. And what we're going to do is just automatically drop one line with one extension. Oops, sorry. It's gonna be, I'm sorry guys. It's gonna be like this. Now select one MAC, select one IP phone, bandwidth one extension number, click on Add. And select another one and another extension. Add it. And the next, add it. And when you click on Save, here just inform you to reboot the phone. And when you click on Yes, your IP phone is gonna automatically start rebooting. And once your phone finished the rebooting, now congratulations, you could pick up your phone's start internal calls. It's gonna be very easy, all right? Okay, can auto provisioning the phones other than the listed brand? Now, currently, what we can make sure is in the list, all of those IP phones are totally supported. If you have other brand, it's also available, but you need to confirm with our tech support team. Just confirm. So we just want to make sure that all the parameters going to start working. And once we've confirmed, don't worry about it. So, like I've mentioned, if you want to have some information about other brands' IP phones, you will just need to get some details information to confirm with us. All right. Now, technically speaking, if the IP phone support SIP, it will be working fine with our IP PBX. Technically speaking, but still, like I've mentioned, just confirm with us so we can help you to fix it. All right, guys, so that was the first part, the first session for this YSCT training. If you have any questions, you could just let me know through the chatting panel, and I will just keep going, all right? Okay, I'm actually wait for you guys a few seconds. If you have a question for the first part, you can just let me know through the chatting panel. If you don't have a question, I think we can keep going for the second part. Okay, I will keep going. All right, let's check. Very clear, nothing for me. Okay, great. I will keep going. Sure. Now, the first part, like I've mentioned, we've finished the basic settings. We've finished the internal telephone system. So now we can start internal costs. But think about it. For a telephone system, the most important thing is how do we make phone calls for internal costs, and also how to make phone calls for the outside world, which is outgoing calls and incoming calls, right? That's very important. Otherwise, who's gonna drop this box in the office? Useless, right? So the second part, we're gonna talk about how to make phone calls to the outside. Now, the first thing I would like to talk about will be trunks. Now, normally when you try to make phone calls to the outside, or when you try to receive a phone call from your client, the incoming calls or outgoing calls, we must make sure that the system has available channels. Otherwise, we can't make phone calls. Okay, please. Can we register the extension through PIN authentication? Through PIN authentication, I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so sure. I will need to confirm with you about that. Okay? You could just drop me your email address. So let me just confirm. All right. I'm not so sure. Let me confirm and I will send you an email. Is that okay? Yeah, sure. Okay. In Asterisk, they have introduced this feature. I think we support it, but honestly, I'm not sure. But I will just need to confirm, and after that, I will send you the email. Is that okay for you? Okay. Okay. Sure. All right. So you can just drop your mailbox here. Let me know your email box, so I will transfer you the mail later. Okay. All right. I will keep going. All right. Now, like I've mentioned, when we try to make phone calls, we definitely need some channels. Otherwise, we cannot make phone calls. So the channels will be our trunks, of course. Now let's have a check. Now, basically, we have two types of trunks. Now, these two types will be physical trunk and zip trunk. First one, physical trunk, will be very easy to understand. It's totally physically connection, and after that, you can start using those trunks. And both physical trunks and SIP trunk will actually get it from our carriers, from the service provider, to make outgoing calls. Now, physical trunk, we could have PSTN lines in the office, or we could have PRI, which will be E1, T1, J1, or we could have BRI. And also, SIM card is also another type of physical trunk, right? So just take your SIM card. And like I've mentioned before, the S-Series PBX support modular design. So we support different modules for different channels. Now let's have a check one by one. First one, the FXO, which will be PSTN line. About this part of setting, this part of trunk setting, let's have a check. Actually, nothing special. When you open it, you will figure that all those settings are totally physically connection, totally physically configuration. So it seems that we don't have to do any kind of complicated settings. Just get those details information from carrier and fill in the blanks, make sure it has been activated so you can start use it. Now here we can have we can have a quick look at it. We can change the name of this trunk, of course, and we can set the volume for RX, which means receive a phone call, and TX, the volume for sending a call to the outside. Now, if you're a professional guy, you want to change this part of setting, you can select custom. So you can change the volume by this, by gain, by dB. Or forget about it, you can select percentage. That's going to be an easy way, right? And also we could enable SLA, shared line. This is a shared line. A for what? I just forget about it. But this is not very, I don't think this is very popular now because we have, if you have SIP trunk, if you have SIP trunk, you have PRI, you don't have to use this shared line. Normally, this function is designed for the old system, for analog system, they prefer the shared line to make sure everybody can get the resource, averagely. But we also support it. If you're trying to use the SLA function, you can also activate it here. All right, and go for the advanced. Here is something very important. I want to make it. I want you guys to be very careful, which will be the caller ID settings. Now, the caller ID settings is actually nothing special, but the issue is some clients probably they have a problem. They do have the caller ID and they do pay the money. They do pay the charges to the client to the carriers for the caller ID service. But unfortunately, they just can't have any caller ID on the telephone system. Now, normally, is something wrong with it. Now, this probably is something wrong with the carrier. If there's something wrong with the carrier, it's going to be easy. Just ask the carrier to check to make a detection and fix it. And also probably something wrong with our side. Just make sure the caller ID detection has been activated already. Step 1. And step 2, check your caller ID start and your caller ID signaling. Very important because some people they make some settings by themselves. They never followed with the carrier's requirement. So probably they will have trouble here. So make sure this part of setting is completely matched with your carrier's requirements. Otherwise, probably we will have some issues here. Okay. Now that would be for the FX, so nothing special like I've mentioned. And also for BRI, similar. It's totally similar. As you can see, let's just have a quick look at it. It's totally as same as previous page. We could do those kind of modifications and configuration, of course. And also E1. You can set your E1 trunk here by yourself. Now here, signaling role normally is user because you're going to get E1 service from your carrier. But you can also select network and user, which means if you're trying to use the E1 trunk between two PBXs, that's also available. Okay. And last thing I want to talk about will be mobile trunk. The mobile trunk here is the PIN code. A lot of people, they just forget about the PIN code, but it's okay. It depends on your SIM card, depends on your carrier. Now, for example, in China, if I try to use the same card for my mobile trunk, I don't have to enter the PIN code because it's not necessary. I mean, the card is okay, it's not locked. I can use it directly. But some country is necessary for you to enter the PIN code. Otherwise, your phone is locked. Your SIM card is locked. Now, for example, I remember last year I'm actually I get a traveling, in my holiday. During my holiday, I get a traveling in Muscat, in Salada. It's actually in Oman. And I just actually bought a SIM card in Oman. But, in Oman, you buy a SIM card, it's actually required for you to use the PIN code to unlock the SIM card. Otherwise, it's not going to be available. So, same example. Some country, if you have the same card there, they were requiring the PIN code, so you will need to enter it to unlock it. Okay, now let's talk about the SIP trunk. See what we can do for creating SIP trunk. Click on Add. Here we go. This is going to be the page for us to create a new SIP trunk. Now, first of all, we need to name it, of course. We don't want to get confused about the SIP trunk, so you're going to name it, of course. And you will need to select Enable SIP trunk, right? Okay. And the protocol, we support SIP and IEX, of course. Now, normally people select SIP. This is going to be most popular way. And let's have a check about the trunk type. Now, we support 3 types of SIP trunk. You could have register trunk here, and you could have the peer trunk, and also you could have account trunk. And I'm gonna explain it to you guys one by one. First one, register trunk. Normally, people select register trunk. That means you have to register your PBX on your carrier so that you can activate this register trunk for communication, for telecommunication, right? So what you're going to do is here enter your service provider, your carrier's information, their host name, IP address, and domain, and also username, password, authentication code. It's actually all given from your service provider, your carriers. Okay, let's have a check. Sometimes PABX is not getting proper busy signal or hang up. In that case, where we have to define those values. What do you mean for this proper busy signaling? You mean the PSTN line, the FXS trunk? Were you talking about the FXO trunk? The phone not busy tone. Oh, okay, all right. Let me check. Phone not busy tone. If I think for FXO, normally we would just go for this page. You know, you don't have to set something for that. I think for volume, you just drop it here, and advanced here. Got a little bit confusing about that. Now, like I've mentioned, the caller ID, I need that information. You just make a selection here, or otherwise confirm with your service provider. This is for FXO, and for other lines like BRI or this E1. Let me have a check. The codec, well, I'm actually got confused about that. Sorry. Anyway, just like I've mentioned, so all those parameters is actually, we've already dropped it like this. This is totally by default setting. Now, like you've mentioned, if sometimes you cannot make this setting working, you can't make it working fine on your PBX, it's going to be okay. You will just need to contact your service provider or your carrier. Very, very easy. And just confirm with them some parameters. What exactly do we need to set? And follow the guidance, follow the requirement from them. And after that, you can just make use of it. I think like that. Or if there's still some issue you cannot fix, like signaling, some issue like that, some trouble on it. I mean, even you've already followed your carriers, but you still cannot fix it. Don't worry about it. Contact with our tech support and just send them your issue. They're going to help you to do the analyze. Okay, all right. Now, the register trunk, I will keep going. Now, what we are going to do is going to be very simple. Just enter those details information given by our carriers, right? And after that, you can click on Save Activated, because normally you just pay the money, you just pay the charge, and they will help you activate one available account. So you would just make use of it. This is going to be the register trunk. And the second one, peer trunk. One more thing, I forgot it. Sorry. Here we have a template. Now, if you select the general, all those parameters you have to enter it by yourself. All right. And you could also select ITSP. Now, which means in system default, we've already dropped some ITSP here, some service providers information here. Now, for example, we can select countries if currently we support those countries. Now, if in your area, your clients, they have their own ITSP and they want to make it happen here, it's okay. just give us the details information. Just offer us the details information, and we're gonna have a test, make sure it's gonna work, and help you guys fix it. And it's gonna be very easy. And as you can see, the host name, the domain is actually automatically generated here. All right. And the next one, peer trunk, is a little bit different. Now, peer, what does peer mean? That means two sides. They must do the same job simultaneously, kind of like the mutual registration. That's called peer, right? So if we select a peer, now here on our side, we need to enter the information from the information of our carriers, of our service provider, right? And simultaneously on the service provider side and on the carrier side, they will also need to enter the information from us. The information of us. So they will also ask us to provide our IP address, host name, domain, those information, so that we can build this mutual registration, right? And also by using peer trunk, we could also connect the two PBXs together. That's also available. Wait a second. Okay, let's keep going. That's also available for two PBX to integrate with each other. And the last one will be account trunk. Now, if I select account trunk, everything will becoming so easy. The account trunk is actually the feature specifically designed for our solution, for our branch office solution. Now, for example, if we have a controlling office in China and we have a branch office in Dubai, New York, wherever. And two offices will actually want to have this free internal cost, because if we don't have this solution, we have to call each other not free, pay money, right? But we want to have free cost, so we can buy SIP trunking to make a connection between two offices. So account trunk is a very good solution. Now on my controlling office devices, I would just select account trunk here, and here I have username and the password is actually generated automatically, right? And I click on save. Now, when I get back to my, for example, when I get back to my branch office PBX, now the controlling office is already create account trunk, right? Account trunk, and already have the username and password. So for branch office, what I'm going to do is just select register trunk, because I'm going to put my PBX registered on the controlling office, right? So here I select register trunk, the host name, which will be our controlling office host name, right? So you would just put the public IP address of your controlling office here, and the domain, right? And the username and password get back here. Here we go, the username and password. Drop them here, and authentication name. After that, these two offices have been connected with each other. So the account trunk is going to be the solution for this branch office integration solution. Okay. Now let's keep going. Now we've already talked about the trunks, the channels actually for our phone calls. Now the second step will be how to make phone calls. Go to the call control. This is going to be the place for us to define the system, how to make phone calls to the outside and also how to receive phone calls from outside. Now, first of all, let's have a check how to make phone calls to the outside, the outbound routes. TLS, I think is supported. Okay, now the outbound routes, let's have a check. Now click on add, create outbound routes to define the system. How do we make phone call to the outside, to our clients, right? Now first one, you need to name this outbound routes, right? So give any name, like out, whatever you want. This is going to be very easy. We support letters, we support numbers, so whatever you want. And we're actually trying to make phone calls. So select the channels, right? Select the channels. You can select one channel, which is trunks. I mean, you can also select multiple trunks. That's also available. And also we need to select the extensions. So are you going to try to make all those guys available for making phone calls using those trunks? Or you can also select a few guys. It totally depends on you, right? And we can set a password for this rows. So that means if these two person they try to use those trunks for phone calls, they will need to enter the password. And we can have single password. So these two person they can use the same password, or we can set the password separately. That's also available. This is actually kind of like the way for us to do the management. You know, set a password, set a list. You can set two password, right, separately for those two agents. Can we select a group instead of one extension? No, it can't. We can't. Here, we can only select the extensions. That's the option we have. So there's no group. You must select it by yourself. It's a little bit complex, I know, but you must select by extension. Okay. And one more thing is here we have round robin with memory hunt. Let's have a check. Now talking about this, get back to trunks. As you can see here, we've already got an order, right? This is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is an order, and this order is available for us to switch, right? So here comes the question. If I never make any configuration, that means every time I will start phone calls by using the first trunk, right? So if the first trunk is available, so we will always use the first trunk. Other trunk, we will just drop them aside. You know, it's kind of like a wasting of our resource, right? And the first trunk probably will be overused. That's not so logical. That's not so reasonable. Not what we want. So how do we solve that issue? Don't worry. Check this round robin with memory hunt. So the system gonna remember the position of the last trunk which we're using before. And after that phone call, because like I mentioned, the system remember this position. Now, for example, the first call we use the first trunk, and system just remember position here. The second call when we try to make, it will automatically switch to the second trunk, right? This is going to be more intelligent for the system. Okay, now let's keep going. Now, after that, when we click save, now we just have this basic outgoing cost, outgoing roads. But just like I said, this is very basic, it's not complicated. Okay, sure, I will explain it again. Okay, guys, have a check here. Now, when we try to make phone call, we need extensions, we need available chunks, right? Now, currently, I've already selected 4 chunks. As you can see, these 4 chunks actually have an order. This is the first, second, third, and the last. And this order is available for us to make a change, right? We can select the order. It's available. And if I put this list as this order, normally when we try to make phone call, and I never check this round robin memory hunt. So normally when we try to make phone call, the system gonna always start using the first trunk, right? If the first trunk is available. Otherwise, it will transfer to the second trunk. You guys get my point, right? So it seems that if the first trunk is available, so we will always use the first trunk, which means probably the first trunk will be overused. That's not what we want, right? It's actually not so logical, not so reasonable. We want to make a full use of our resources here. So we will need to check the round robin with memory hunt, which means the system gonna remembers which trunk was used the last time and use the next available trunk when you have the next phone call. So in other words, if the first call I have system use this trunk, now it will remember the position. It's actually here. So when I have the second call, it will automatically switch to the second trunk. Okay, it will automatically switch to the second trunk. So make sure that all those trunks will have, average using, right? So it will be more intelligent to make full use of all those resources. Okay, so this is gonna be the basic settings for this outbound roads. Just a very basic, just tell us how to make phone calls. But actually in our real life, it's gonna be complicated, especially for international calls, right? In the office. So let's have a check. How do we make complex settings for this outbound roads? I'm gonna call this roads international. Okay. And I'm gonna do the same job. For international phone calls, probably I don't use those physical trunk because it's gonna be expensive. So I would just use this SIP trunk for international calls. SIP trunk is cheap. All right. And for extensions, I don't need a supervisor and HR. They're not necessary. I just need salesperson for international calls. So I select this two person and I set a password. I can set a single password, 1, 2, 3. So only these two person, they know the password. They can make international calls. And get back here. For international calls, we need to tell the system that this phone call is not for internal calls. It's not for domestic. It's not for domestic calls. It's just for international calls. So need a definition, right? Talking about the definition, we need to set the dial patterns here. Let's have a check. Now, guys, think about it. When you try to make international phone calls, what would you do? The first step is you will need to dial the the country code, right? Without a country code, you can't make international call. And as we know, the common sense, the country code is actually started with 00, right? So country code start with 00 and country code. Now China is 86, Saudi Arabia is 968, I think, probably, not so sure, or 966. I forget it, sorry guys. And I remember the Dubai, the UAE, the country code is 971, right? Okay, so that's gonna be very easy. But like I've mentioned, this is for international sales team. They can't just make a phone call to Dubai, to Muscat. They're actually call everywhere. So we don't need to mention the country. We just drop 00 because this is common sense. This is common rule, the 00. And as you know, this number is actually not finished yet, so I'm gonna put a point here. Now check the dial patterns here. The definition for our phone calls, the meaning of the point is actually means there's still something remaining, right? So that means after 00, there's still some numbers. There should be some numbers, right? So just make sure the system not gonna automatically dial 00, transfer the 00 outside automatically. So we set 00, the country, I have no idea, so we don't need to mention the country code, right? And normally this is gonna be the call for outside, the outgoing, and we don't want the system get confused to transfer the phone call to the internal system. To make it be very clear, we need to set one identification number at the beginning, which will be number 9. Now probably it's number 9. You can set number 1, number 2, whatever you want. Now normally we set number 9 because number 9 is not so popular to be as the first digit in the internal system. We can restrict the country with respect to extension. Restrict the country. We can restrict here, but we can set the specific number. It's actually not here. It's actually we have we have a function, we have a features in somewhere else. I will explain to you guys either. Yeah, I know your mean. I mean, 1003 can only call UAE. It's okay if you want to make phone call only in UAE. So here you can just mention 971, right? That's gonna be fine. And here 1003, you can just set it like this. You can set one outbound route specifically for this guy. So if he make a phone call for other countries, it's not available. It's not available. Let's keep going. Now here I'm also mentioned one number 9, right? And like I mentioned, number 9 is identification number. Just tell the system this phone call will not going to be internal cost, will be the outside outgoing cost. Send me to the outside. So the number 9 is going to be the identification number, but it's not the actual number. So we need to delete this number automatically before we send that call goes out. Here we get a strip. Just mention 1. Which means the first number gonna be automatically deleted when we make that phone call to the outside. And now click on save and apply. So we can make use of this international phone calls. This is actually not international phone calls. This is UAE, right? This is for UAE. So next time, for outgoing costs, this 1003, he is available. Use the SIP trunk to start a phone call to the UAE, and nowhere in other places is not available for him. Okay. Now this is gonna be the outbound route setting. Now let's keep going. Now the next part will be inbound routes. We've already figured out how to make phone calls to the outside. Now the question is, how do we receive the phone calls from our clients? Here we go. Click on it. Now the very basic method, the very basic one will be give a name for inbound. Now I can name it in. So this is going to be the route to define the system to receive phone calls. Okay, now here we go. And we need to select the trunks, right? For incoming calls, I can select them all, right? Just make sure that all those trunks are available for our clients to get to the system. And the destination, normally people just select IVR. Now destination here, you can figure that we have so many choices. We can transfer phone calls to extensions, to a specialist directly. To an extension range, that will usually used for DID number. And also we can transfer to voicemail, to IVR, to ring group, and also to queue. That's all available. And those features, we're going to have a further discussion tomorrow. Not tomorrow, I'm sorry guys, Monday. Monday we're going to have a further discussion for those features. Now take an IVR as an example. So this will probably be the popular way for people to transfer phone calls. They just drop to the IVR. I just create a new one, okay, to the IVR here. And IVR, we will also have a further discussion next time, okay? If I have 1000 DID, is there any way for bulk DID? Yes, of course. Of course. If you have 1000 DID numbers, for example, your DID number start from number 1 to 1000. Right? So you got 1000 DID numbers. You can drop it like this. And you want to drop those DID numbers separately on the specific extensions. So here you just select extension range. And set your extension number. Maybe your extension number start from 1000 to 2000. Right? That's actually your 1000 numbers, 1000 extensions. So you just band this 1000 DID numbers with your 1000 extensions separately. Okay. All right. I'll keep going. All right. Now, normally I don't set DID here. I just set an example, the IVR for you guys to easy understand. Now, after that, I just click on save. So I have it, right? It's very easy to understand. Someone make phone call to the system, so it will transfer to the IVR. But here's the question. Now, let's think about it during Ramadan. Take an example. During Ramadan, probably people's working time is definitely different. So we can't make sure that everybody is available in the office all the time. So for this inbound roles, it's not going to work actually. We need a definition. We need to define for different time period, for different period, for different duration. So we can enable time condition for manage the system for different time for like a whole holiday, like a festival, like Ramadan, right? It's going to be very important for us. Like Eid, Ramadan Eid, or what else we have? I just suddenly can't remember other Eid. Now, whatever. Let's just take an example: the Ramadan Eid, or just Ramadan. Okay, so we need a time condition. Now let's have a check how to set time condition. Now, as we know, I will make it clear here. Clear them out so that we can make it clear. Now, as we know, Ramadan actually, we can't make sure when do we start Ramadan every year because the time is not fixed. It's always available, always flexible. Now, let's call it Ramadan. Ramadan, okay. All right, call this Ramadan. So for example, during Ramadan, our working time is definitely different. Probably start working from morning like 7 o'clock, maybe. Not so sure. I remember some office, they start working 7 o'clock. And the office is off maybe just 12 o'clock. So afternoon, everybody's staying in their house. And, you just stay in your house. You can sleep in, you can have a rest, but nobody gonna work. And days of week, we can make sure which days of week is Ramadan. So we select them all, right? And we need to set the Ramadan is during, the holy month. It's during 1 month, probably. So advanced options, here we go. Now select the Ramadan duration. Because like I've mentioned, it's not fixed. So to make it becoming very easy to understand, let's just take an example. I select June. Now normally it starts from June 1st, June 2nd, not so sure. So take an example. It starts from June, and maybe it's the whole month is for Ramadan. Maybe guys, just take an example. So you can select it like this. Click on save. So this is going to be the Ramadan working time, right? And also we have normal days working time. So normal days working time, I call it working time. Just call it working. And we usually start working from morning, 9 o'clock. And office is off work probably afternoon, 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock. I'm not sure. I think it's 4 o'clock, right? In Dubai. Maybe it's 4 o'clock. And days of week, we actually start working Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is holiday. Friday, Saturday is holiday. And maybe some office, they only have one holiday, so Friday, right? And advanced options here, we don't have to set it because this is actually for whole year. Select at least 1 month. So I just forget about it. Now I can have it. Right? Now let's get back to the inbound routes. See how do we define the system to handle phone calls during different time. Now here we go. Like I've mentioned, we have Ramadan, we have working time, so we need to add time conditions here. Now first of all, I need to add Ramadan. Now during Ramadan, probably we can't transfer to IVR because Ramadan, a special working time, maybe there's going to be a person who will pick up the phone. So we can set a specialist, right, during Ramadan. And during working day, it's okay. We just drop the phone call to the IVR. It's gonna be very easy. Just drop your client's phone call to the IVR. System gonna automatically tell them how to do the next step until they reach the final destination. It's going to be very easy, right? But point here, I want you guys to be very clear is here we got a priority. The priority here is actually available for us to change. So I can switch working time on the top. But here the question is, if I set it like this, is that going to work? Is that going to working? Think about it. The answer is negative. It won't gonna work. The reason why it won't work because the working time is actually covers the whole year, right? But Ramadan is for June. So working time already covered the whole year. If clients calls in, every time it just match with the working time condition, right? So the Ramadan time condition is useless. So here comes the most important thing here is when you try to set the working time, the time condition, you must remember set the shortest duration, the shortest time condition on the top. Okay, and the longest time. I mean, if they have an overlap, if these two time conditions they have overlap, so you must set the longest time duration at the bottom side. But if this two time condition is separately, it's okay. You don't have to worry about it. It's not a big deal to change orders. But if they have this relation, like an overlap relation, you must set it like this. Okay? That's going to be very important. All right. And what else we have? We also have distinctive ringtone on the Asterisk PBX. Now, if you try to use your distinctive ringtone, you must confirm with your IP phone provider if your phone has the distinctive ringtone. So all you have to do is here just enter the file name, the ringtone file. So next time, if someone calls in by using those tracks, you will have that distinctive ringtone. Okay. And one more thing here is enable fax detection, as you can see here. Now, if we never enable fax detection, but we have fax, it's going to be okay. If we have PSTN line in the office, so it's not a big deal because fax is transferred by PSTN. But if we don't have PSTN line, we'll only have SIP trunk. Is that okay? Yes, of course, because we support it. We support use SIP trunk to receive fax. So you will just need to activate fax detection. And system can automatically detect your fax. After that, you will just need to select the destination for your fax. If you have fax machine, select the extension, bound with your fax machine. If you don't have fax machine, send fax to your email. So you can have all those fax transferred to your email. Okay. Now click on save, click apply. And also if you want to send fax to your clients, it's also available. If you have fax machine, you want to send fax, get to your trunks, but you don't have PSC line. It's okay. Go to your trunks and select your SIP trunk here. Go to advanced here. We got a T.38 support. Check it. And after that, you can use your SIP trunk for sending fax to your clients. All right, guys, thank you so much for your time. That was all for today's session for our first two parts of this YSCT training. Now, if you guys have any questions, you could just let me know through the chatting panel, all right? And one more thing, if you guys are interested in our A-Star certified test, we have a certified test. If you pass the test, you can get our certificate. It's available, of course. You could just contact our sales representative, apply our Academy account, so you can join in our online test. It's totally available for you. And just contact with our sales representative. He will tell you everything, every details about the test, and also he will provide you guys the learning material. We have some slides for learning, and subscribe our channel, YouTube channel. You can also find some videos for training, and also our website is also available for it. Okay, one question. Pre-sync feature is available. Pre-sync feature. What do you mean pre-sync feature? I don't know what is pre-sync feature. Could you please just explain to me about the pre-sync feature? Let me have a check. Once the extension is registered, I can see it's available. Yes, yes, of course. It's actually called monitor. We call it PBX monitor right over here. If those extensions are registered, you can actually check it here, the status. Okay. When you on the call, you can actually have concurrent call here. Here you can have a check the concurrent calls. And when you're on the call here, this icon can actually tells you it's busy online. You can also have it, the status. So don't worry about it. Oops, what is happening here? All right, guys. Another thing I'm actually mentioning about the training, the test. Here on our website, we have Academy right over here. You will figure we have Academy. So if you guys want to join some other trainings or some other test, just click on Academy. Here you can find learning materials. You can find learning training videos, training schedules. It's all available here, right? You can just have a quick look, get all the details information here. All right. So for more details information, just click on our A-Star website. I will share it with you guys here. All right. Access our A-Star website and find the Academy. Then you can find it. Yeah, sure. Great, great. I will drop an email to you. Yeah, I get it. I get your email before. I have it. Okay, don't worry about it. Thank you for your question. Thank you for your time. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, guys, I think that was all right for today's training. And thank you so much. Thank you. And hopefully you guys could enjoy the training. Hopefully it could be helpful. And I will, of course, Mr. Zayed, I will also transfer the details information about this link through the email to you. All right. Okay, sure. Don't worry about it. Okay, let me have a check. Can we have the recording? You mean for today's presentation recording, right? Yeah. Let me have a check. I think I've already got a recording. Yeah. We have recording. We have recording. I will share with you later. Okay, sure. Don't worry about it. Probably it will take a little bit of time because this is webinar training recording. So I will need to, first of all, we need to transcode, and after that, I have to upload to the Dropbox, and I will share with you the link of this recording. Okay. Okay, sure. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so have a nice day. Take care. All right. Yeah, sure. Of course. Just have a try, just test it by yourself, and you will get familiar with the system, and you will figure that, oh, system is really handy, it's user friendly, it's easy. All right. Yeah, sure, of course, just go ahead. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, take care, have a nice day, and we will keep in touch.